I really need to get a selfie stick or a tripod or something, because recording all of these videos in selfie mode with my arm makes my shoulder tired. And I know, I'm complaining, but really nobody suffers more than I do. That's sarcasm, by the way, if you haven't worked that out yet. I'm fluent in many, many different forms of sarcasm. Right. Off to a slightly cynical start. I'm actually in quite a good mood. I have just spent the entire day coding websites, and that's made my brain melt, and now I'm facing down the prospect of spending an evening coding video games. So in order to re-solidify my brain a little bit, I've come down to one of the quieter, nicer, isolated spots that I know of. There's no one else around, it's just me, so I can waffle on all I want. And what am I here to waffle on about? Well, if you've been here before, you know that I'm here to waffle on about Woden Vale, the video game I'm making. So what's been going on? We previously talked about how I'm approaching the combat. So, exciting news, my first pass at the combat is done. Now, when I say my first pass, and I say done, I really want you to understand what a rough thing it actually is. I've very much just implemented the very, very basic behaviours. You can attack, you can defend, the enemies can attack, damage is taken. If enough damage is taken, enemies are defeated, or the player is defeated, and so on and so forth. You can flee as well, and I've been playing around with items, and I thought maybe it'd be a more streamlined approach, that rather than having a myriad of items you can use, and some items can be used in the world and some can be used in combat and so on and so forth, I thought maybe I could streamline it and replace items with spells instead. So at the moment you can heal yourself, and that's the only spell. Anyway, that's a long way of just explaining that a very rudimentary form of combat is in the game, and it looks nothing like what I envisage it to be. It's not balanced, it's not even fun, it is just a framework on which I can start building into, can start working into in the future. So what does that mean for me now? So historically, the thing I would do now is get really bogged down in the detail and start trying to flesh out this amazingly full combat cycle. But that's not what I'm going to do, because I've done that so many times in the past. I've learned my lesson, and I'm really, really trying to keep to this ethos of iterating and kind of building up a minimal viable product, which you may have heard of that term before. We use it a lot in software development, especially outside of games, although I have seen it used in games before. And what it means is building the exact minimum you need to fulfill an aim, right? So I wanted to build a turn-based combat system. I have built the exact minimum that I could consider I need for a turn-based combat system. So there you go. That's where I am right now. So what have I currently got in the game? I've got rudimentary combat, rudimentary AI behaviors, and rudimentary kind of forest garden management. So one of the aspects of the game is you have a garden that you can manage, and you can change aspects about it that then attract different animals to move in. Big inspiration there is Viva Pinata, which I think is a cool game concept that could have been explored a lot more. So I have all of these disparate aspects. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spend some time just trying to thread them together to form something resembling a coherent experience. Now again, this will be a minimum viable product. It won't be an amazing game to play. It won't even necessarily be evocative of the standards I'm wanting to aim for. In fact, it will certainly just be a bunch of cubes jumping around that you can interact with. But I just, like I did with the combat, I want to build that framework and then start iterating on it. So I'm going to take that bag of different mechanics and systems and just string them together into something resembling a game. So you can load the game up, you can start the game, you get an introductory cutscene, and then you can interact with the game world in a rough semblance of the game loop I'm trying to build. And then after that, I think I might actually treat myself to spending some time building some visuals for it. Yeah, you know, my background is an artist. You know, I still am an artist, even though I don't do it professionally anymore. And I love doing the technical stuff. I genuinely do. I have found it genuinely fascinating. Genuinely. So, yeah, art. I miss doing art. I love doing art for games, and I have a real vision in my head about how I want this game to look and how I want it to be presented, and I am excited, really excited to start playing around with that. And part of that is because I want to, I like it, I get to enact my vision, and I won't lie, another part of that is, as discussed previously, I'm trying to build up my social media engagement again. And I've been doing that by interacting with people, going and looking at other developers, and just, you know, expressing my admiration for work they're doing, which is a good thing to do in and of itself. I don't want it to sound totally mercenary that I'm just doing this to generate connections. But also, I can't lie, you know, there is an aspect of that. Maybe if it fulfills both, that's okay. But yeah, waffling again. I have a strong suspicion, and from my experience with Rosvita, you will drive a lot more engagement with the work you're making when you have interesting visuals. That's not to say that you can't just have bare-bone visuals and show off a really cool mechanic. There's games that do that, but for me at least, maybe I should caveat that by saying I think this is just how I work. I think I need to get those visuals out there for people to start really starting to get an idea of what I want to do with Woden Vale. There you go. That's what I want to do. So yeah, that's me. It's a great place to be. I'm genuinely excited. I don't know if any of you have ever felt this, where you're working on a project and you're so in it, you know, you can't really get an idea for the whole, and then suddenly you step back and you're like, oh, I've actually done quite a lot. Well done me. That's me patting myself on the back, by the way. Right, anyway, I'm done with this video. It's a bit shorter than usual, so hooray. One last look at the nice view. It's nice. Don't mind that. That's just a bag of rubbish that I just picked up. Yeah. Cool. Thank you very much. Bye.